Anthropic just released Claude Opus 4.7, and I'm so excited to test it because it's supposedly a step change in agentic coding and tool use. Apparently, it's a lot better at catching its own faults, at reviewing code, at building things. We're talking automations and long-running tasks, which is great for an author who's trying to build out an outline for a novel or edit a novel or build a website or a book launch protocol. Here's what it's supposedly really good at. All these office tasks, vision, document reasoning. This is really key here for authors. Long context reasoning. This is also great for developing a whole book Bible or a book series. Let's test this thing. I'm asking Claude Opus 4.7 to come up with a commercially successful premise. I'm asking it to research what's working right now in bestsellers, what's a best-selling genre, what has low competition, and to come up with an idea, a set of ideas that it thinks will be commercially successful, then pick the best one and explain why. Here we go. It's saying, based on market research synthesis, the best-selling genres with lowest competitions in 2026 right now are horror romance, water-based romantasy, a sci-fi, a cli-fi. What is a cli-fi? It doesn't even explain what that is. Somebody's going to have to explain what that is. Historical mysteries, dark academia. Here's the 10 premise contenders. And then it's saying this is the winning premise, The Widow's Tide. One-line pitch. On a remote Scottish isle where every husband eventually walks into the sea, a young widow discovers the ocean is not claiming the men. It is being fed them, and the ancient thing beneath the waves has chosen her as its next bride. Here's the extended premise and why it's supposedly going to be successful. I think it came up with a good premise, and it had great reasons behind it. Let's move on to the next test. Now I've asked Opus 4.7 to take an idea and illustrate it in 10 different kinds of outlines that would actually help a writer to write the novel or idea themselves. So first we have the 3-act structure. It's a classic pyramid. It's creating the diagram right now so that we can see what it looks like visually. It's not the best diagram, but it's pretty cool to have a diagram of the outline. Let's go to the Save the Cat beat sheet, something for screenplays. All right, so we have the same kind of diagram here. I don't love this imaging. I don't think it looks that great, but I do like that it's creating these images one after another for us, just like I asked. We have in different colors. This is good. It's creating the whole thing, which is pretty cool. And it's putting the actual story idea into these beats, which is this next one is the hero's journey. This is Dan Harmon's story circle. Again, these are just the big moments and sections. There's even a little draft tip down here, which is kind of cool. Okay, we have the snowflake method. This is a little bit more detailed, but again, some of the sentences are going off of the page, which isn't great. All right, 7-point story structure. What's next? Freytag's pyramid. This one looks familiar. We have Fichte curve, a series of escalating crisis spikes. Here are the crisis spikes. Number 10, scene sequel grid, Swain Bickman. I have that book. So I'm going to ask it to pick one and give me a very detailed outline because I got to see if it can do that. Here is the detailed chapter outline for The Last Bookshop at the End of the World using the Save the Cat beat sheet applied to 30 chapters. Act 1, each chapter has a story. We have the day, the opening image, the scene, the disaster, the sequel hook, the craft notes. That's cool. I like it. So we're going to keep going down here. We have chapter 3, opening image. We have the disaster, craft notes. Looks like for all 30 chapters. We have the structural clock, the mirror pairs, the 7 escape pacing, the romance beats, draft order recommendation. So it's actually going to say do the spine first. That's interesting. The romance braid, the hunt, the connective tissue. This approach lets you write to your energy. Romance on romantic days, hunts on action days, spine on structural days. The book assembles itself around the anchors. I don't know how I would feel about writing a story that way. Let me know in the comments if you have ever done that. Now, what we really want to know is, can this thing write? And to figure out how Opus 4.7 thinks about stories, I'm asking for a complete micro short story. I want to see what it comes up with. I was really impressed with 4.6 writing. Let's see if 4.7 is better, the same, or maybe even worse. Opus 4.7 is back saying the story is called The Weight of Small Kitchens. It's about 1,400 words. It's a short story. It's structured in 4 movements: kitchen, garage, attic, kitchen again. Opus 4.7 shows a circular structure. I didn't ask it to, but it did. So the ending lands on a changed understanding of the same room, which is the story's whole point. Robin hasn't moved, but her measurement has. Robin must be the name, probably Robin Ashby. All right, let's read this story, or at least some of it. The Weight of Small Kitchens. The kitchen is smaller than I remember. This is what everyone says about childhood kitchens, so I try not to say it out loud. My mother is at the stove stirring something that does not need stirring. Her back is to me. She is wearing the blue apron my father gave her for an anniversary, and her hair, once the color of bread crust, is now the color of an underside of bread. The color of bread crust, that's something I've never heard in any novel. Maybe you have, but I think it's quite original and I like it. She is 63. She has been 63 for weeks. You're thinner, she says, without turning around. I can tell from the back of your neck. I sit at the table where I have sat most of my life. The table has a burn mark on it from when I was 19 and set down a pan I should not have set down. She has never replaced the table. She has never sanded the mark. I like those little details, actually. So far, I like it. It hasn't moved me as much as other stories have moved me in the past with like Opus 4.6, but I'm along for the ride. I'm still here in the story. I think we're going to jump down toward the end to see how it closes this out. In the kitchen, which is smaller than I remember because I am larger than I was, my mother has set out 3 mugs. My father has used the cream, which he is not supposed to use. They are standing on either side of the table the way they have stood my whole life, orbiting it, orbiting me. A small, crooked solar system that I have spent 34 years resenting for not being round. That's another sentence that speaks to me. I like that. I know we missed probably the emotional change in here. Let me scroll through it as I talk in case you want to screenshot and actually read this whole thing. I think maybe it'd be worth it. I don't think I can put this whole thing in the video description, but maybe I'll try. Anyway, I like the writing. Again, I wasn't moved as much as I was with something that I read from Opus 4.6, but I get the sense of the story, and I like it. I think it's good. One thing I really like is so far I haven't read any kind of cliche, at least that I'm aware of. I'm not the biggest fan of first person, but I know that's very popular, so I'm probably in a minority there. But I like the original descriptions. I think they're good. So I think this is fine. I don't think this is like, whoa, it didn't blow me away. It didn't make me cry. And other stories have in the past, written by AI. This one hasn't, but maybe because I didn't read the whole thing, just the first and last part. But anyway, I think it's good. I like the original language and analogies probably the most. What this is supposed to be the best at is coding and long tasks. Now I'm asking the model to make me a website using these images, and I wanted to use 2026 modern website best practices. I'll be honest, I don't know what all of those are, but we're going to hope Opus 4.7 does, and I hope that it makes a really good site. All right, we have a design approach that's supposedly using the images, front-end design skill for modern website best practices. Let's see. This is pretty good. I do like the color scheme. It used the image I gave it, and look, it moves. That's cool. It has this nice little cursor red dot, which is kind of interesting. I like that. Let's go down here, browse the shelf. Look, it has a little movable like type down here. I like it. 3 books. 3 different weathers. Yep, here are the book covers. And now it didn't create these book covers. I gave that to it. But yeah, I like how it moves. That's cool. It's interactive. It's got these micro interactions. We have this little, I guess it's what, a flashlight by my cursor now. Okay, we can read more. Now we have a little bit about each book. And here we have from chapter 1. He had spent his whole life shelving other people's stories. He had never expected to find his own in the 1600s under a number that was not supposed to exist. I think it made that up, but it's pretty cool. Open any book anywhere. The decimal, the pigeon prophet. It wrote these. It didn't have the actual files from the book. So what it did was it actually wrote these little excerpts, and it did all of this as well. I think it made all this up, but it's pretty cool. All right, let's just go through here. The writer, the desk, the patients. 420,000 readers on the list, which is not true. That's made up. 3 novels published. 7 years of drafts. That's realistic. 1 opinionated pigeon. That's actually funny. It did this all by itself. Okay, let's see what it says, because I did not give it any of this. Christopher Kokoski writes fiction that moves slowly and lands exactly. I would hope so. Notes on crafts, books, the slow work. What is this? Short essays on writing? It totally came up with this by itself. Let's see. Is that going to take us anywhere? No, it's just on James Salter, The Shape of Good Interruption and Why the Best Prose Ambushes You from the Left Side of the Page. The letter arrives on Sunday morning, so it's a little newsletter sign up. This is good. Look at this. Elsewhere, Medium, Substack, Instagram, Goodreads, Write, Speaking. You want to hire me? Press inquiries? That's funny too. This is just a front end of the website. All right, honestly, I like it. I think this is the best job it's done with just a one shot, really no direction for the website. I think it does a great job at this. So I'm thinking that it's true that Opus 4.7 is probably better at coding tasks. And this wasn't even a long one, really. Even though it made up a lot of stuff, it did pretty well. I should mention that feedback on Opus 4.7, at least initial feedback, is pretty mixed, but it usually is, right? People love it, and say it's game changers, kind of like I am. I think it's pretty good. Other people say it's terrible and 4.6 has been regressing, and there's all kinds of complaints here about usage limits, cost, major regression. Claude code is busted, and then teasing mythos. That is somewhat true, it seems, but I've had some good use cases with 4.6 still working for me, 4.7. So overall, what do I think? Overall, that this is a good model. I'm unsure how much better it is for authors in terms of writing and writing related tasks, but I think that it's on par with 4.6. It should still get things done. I still think it's probably the best set of models or model that's out for coding tasks, making websites. I think it is a lot better, to be honest, for a one-shot website. It created something, at least a front end of it is really good. I can't wait to dig deeper and use 4.7 on some of my other coding projects because I have so many and I'm working on a ton. That's it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.